Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Christmas Eve, and we're wrapping up 2026. There has been some changes in my situation, and I thought it might be good after kind of the manifesto yesterday on the diaspora machine if we went over some of the things that I thought were relevant going into 2026. We're all kind of dealing with some similar economic situations. And so I wanted to talk about some principles that I thought were important. And hopefully we don't take too long, but hopefully this benefits you as much as I'm hoping, benefits me. One of the things that I've recognized about my own emotional intelligence quotient is that, even though I had some academic success early on, what I recognized more was after that 80% mark that I constantly refer to, it's more important to work on EQ, emotional quotient. So the way that we interact with other people, the way that we interact with our peers, our superiors, and our subordinates. And now that I'm going to be taking a more serious leadership effort, especially as it pertains to Texas movement, I want to have like a real clear establishment of our culture. So, as many of you know, I grew up in the suburban environment, predominantly a Caucasian environment. And there are things that, even though it can be pretty frustrating living as a minority in that environment from an advancement standpoint, there are some good things that we should take away from that um, demographic if we want to build something independent and structured. And we should pay homage to that while rejecting some of the mm, less amicable qualities that those individuals may have. So when I use the term WASP, what I'm abbreviating is White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Anglo-Saxon typically refers to the people that come from that England, United Kingdom kind of area. And these are the people that are very prim and proper, and the King James Bible comes from that area. And so there are some good things that came out of that. But as we know, that there's been a lot of kind of structural change. Anytime minorities like to build up, after the Reconstruction era, when just immediately post-slavery after the Civil War, the African American community was making immense strides to be independent, even during the era of sharecropping and so on and so forth. And that's kind of where Texas movement is right now. We're in our Reconstruction era. And so the white community is not a confrontational community. The WASP community is, they pride themselves on their stoicism and their emotional kind of rigidity, their very even keel status. So it's very rare that you will hear an actual WASP talking about racial matters. What you will often see is a European Jew that is pretending to be a WASP. They may have even changed their name to be more WASP-like, okay? So the people that talk about race, the people like Jane Elliott, the white gentleman that's a professor who's always bringing up race, um, those are usually people from the European Jew contingent. The creators of the NAACP were Jewish. The original wife or girlfriend of Jack Johnson, Jewish woman. So a lot of times the proponents of interracial relationships, which personally I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but if it's done in the same way the NAACP is done, simply to dilute the legitimate grievances the African American community has historically, then it's not good at all. Okay? So we can appreciate the need for, kind of understanding all different minority groups without discounting the particular needs of the African American community as our kind of senior brothers and sisters in that fight for equal protection under the law, not the ability to integrate in all types of situations. Okay? One of the things I really appreciate about the white community is their appreciation of military service and law enforcement and public safety. okay? We can't have order in a society unless we have these things. Now, unfortunately, after the Civil War, the police department was used as kind of a slave catching device. And I've had experiences with the local police departments where they've been used in kind of an intimidating fashion. I've been stopped several times, and there was always an intimidating presence with that. Look, I'm willing to let bygones be bygones, guys. I don't want to bother you. If you don't want to bother me, if you give me some time to get my revenue up, all appropriate tickets and bills will be paid. All right? So between me and law enforcement, uh, you really don't have anything to worry about. But once as for example, when your life is threatened, uh, the MKC person from Florida, the 11th Appellate Court or whatever, whenever the police officers come and there's a lawsuit against them for excessive force or unlawful search and seizure or something like that, the judge dismisses it, right? Because we put the law enforcement on this high pedestal, and regular black people, they can they just need to go and be confined to their 4 cents a day job. Now, listen, if 4 cents a day could pay our bills or pay my bills, I would gladly work for 4 cents a day. But because of the increasing inflation at the grocery store and at the gas station and at T-Mobile and at all the other places where we have our necessary needs, 4 cents a day is not going to cut it. Okay? So as much as I'm comfortable with a cot and 3 hots and a toilet that's made out of steel right there, I could make that work, but there are people with children and there are people with special needs and other things. They can't make that work. Okay, so this is why I have to speak, even though I would prefer not to. Okay, so military service, Delta Force, Navy SEALs, Green Rangers, White Rangers, whatever you guys are. Look, I love you. All right, I appreciate everything you've done to give me like a blueprint on how to be mentally tough like Rocky. But you guys saw Rambo. Were they treating veterans very well after they came home? Think of all the stuff that happened in Vietnam. Now, who sends these people to war? Is it you? Is it your families? A lot of times we're signing these contracts for the promise of a vehicle or something like that. And yeah, every once in a while there's a promiscuous girl that, is in the barracks with us, and that's nice. But long term, there are some significant consequences to our mental health. Okay, and I say our because, whether I know you or not, if you're a soldier and you fought for my freedom, who am I not to appreciate that and tell my sons to appreciate that? We, as immigrants, we don't usually have the Constitution to do the things that you guys have done. Even if you guys want to do private contracting and things like that afterwards, honestly, haven't you earned the right to do that? So we all answer to somebody, and I completely understand that and recognize that. But the U.S. military used to be a dignified institution. Okay, we are at the point where we're kind of a laughing stock now, and a lot of it is because we don't have the courage to stand up to ridiculous orders. Whether or not black people were 3/5 human when Thomas Jefferson wrote or had somebody else write the thing, that's irrelevant. There's the letter of the law and there's the spirit of the law. Okay? Would you tell an African American citizen of the United States that he is 3/5 of a person today to his face? If you would not do that, then let's not act as if the Constitution is saying that. Okay? Every American citizen deserves equal protection under the law, period, point blank, end of story. And guys, I don't want to run for political office. I don't want to, have sexual intercourse with some type of farm animal on videotape for Israel's private records to be used against me later. I've already had enough experiences with overweight women that make me feel disgusting already. Okay? So I've embarrassed myself enough. What I'm trying to do is live a nice, peaceful life by myself, have a little tequila from time to time, and have a good Wi-Fi connection so that I can peruse YouTube and whatever other adult websites I want to peruse at whatever point in my life. Okay, so I'm not here to judge anybody, but about this school to prison pipeline. Okay, we we cannot be a nation that continues to be this professionally dumb. We were dumb 30 years ago. Okay, that's why I had all the sabotage from elementary school that I talked to you about. And, I had the genetic advantages to kind of survive past that, but other people that were very close to me had serious, serious long-term implications because of those challenges. Okay, and I speak for them today. All right, it's very, very sad, and I cry alone a lot at night because of survivor's guilt. However, the Lord has allowed me the ability to speak about it, which is my reasonable service. So I'm happy to do it. All right? We need to be a little bit more honest about what our public school system is doing to our children. I'm told that the trays in our schools are the same trays that they have in the county jails and penitentiaries. Is that right? Would you have that for your children? Would you have that for Jewish women? If you wouldn't do it for Jewish American girls, you shouldn't do it to our boys. Because you people are the ones that said third wave feminism makes women equal to men in every way, right? Isn't that just basic math? Okay? So let's use that basic math in both directions. I believe that's called the commutative property or something. A equals B and B equals A. So Eric Weinstein, let's flesh that theory out while you work on the geometric unity as well. All right? I know string theory is a little out of date, but we have some debates lined up anyway. Maybe go on Joe Rogan again and talk about it. So this is what we would call rational rage. When we get upset, when we get angry, the Constitution guarantees, the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment guarantees us freedom of speech for the time being. Now, as you can see, our algorithm is being constantly inundated with fake material, and we may have to switch from social media and YouTube to more in-person kind of things as technology continues to change. But until then, at the very least, we can record these things for posterity's sake. Because I need the world to know exactly how I feel, and since I'm not allowed to face my accuser directly, I'm going to face all of you generally, okay? Even the Bible says, don't worry about what you have to say when you face the government or face any type of challenges. When the time comes for you to address it, you will have impulses on what to say, okay? So this is just coming off the dome, no big deal, okay? But I speak on behalf of my diaspora as we continue to engage with American society because we want to be productive citizens, we want to be helpful neighbors and things like that. We don't want to integrate excessively with your neighborhoods, and we really don't need to lead you. I know Vivek is a weird case. He's trying to make up for some weird thing he has going on by himself. He needs to feel like if he leads white people, he's won the game. But he joined an Israeli fraternity when he was in college. So all he is a diluted, white person. And the same way with Patrick Bet-David and all these people that talk about the most important thing to me is America and the history. Okay, America's not an idol. It's just another company. Okay, just like Texas Movement, it's just America. No big deal. I'm not going to go into all the details of the exact legal things like that. God didn't create me to get into the weeds like that. I'm a kind of a high level, just kind of overview kind of guy. Common sense, real basic, you know what I mean? Frankly, if I could do all this without an engineering degree, I would have been happy to do it. There was no reason for me to be in school from 18 to 24 learning nonsense. But if I can help with a little bit of, racial bias in certain industries when that stops legitimate progress and it impacts legitimate families' mental health and stress, I'm happy to do it, okay? Now, here's the thing. A lot of you guys come from the kind of Christian way of life, influenced by WASP sensibilities, the anti-conflict type of stuff. The Bible justifies war, okay? Every story about judges is about oppression and a judge rising up to lead the children of Israel out of that oppression. It's usually some kind of foreign oppressor, okay? And so if anybody can understand this message that I'm giving, it should be Benjamin Netanyahu, Ben Shapiro, and all those that represent the interests of Israel and the Jewish diaspora. Harvey Weinstein, Ari Emanuel, Rahm Emanuel, whatever the other lawyer's name is, any of the media owners, Murdoch, Bezos, Jeff, I don't have a problem with you. You know, it's a big thing. But you know, you ship on time, and you do serve the customer really well. So far so good, to be honest. But let's get some better actors on the miniseries. That's all I'm asking. And then finally, guys, conflict does have some temporary costs. All right. So women are not going to build with you in anything. They never did that. The only reason they did that in the past was that they had good patriarchs that kind of raised them into that frame of mind. And as a society, we coached that monogamy was held at a high standard. That's why the Asian communities have those strong family structures and the West does not. Okay? But who's deteriorating faster? Okay? Now, all men have a fear of celibacy. What that means for our social status, what that means for our personal ego, what that means for our blue balls. All of these are very legitimate fears, okay? Embrace your fears. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. There is nothing wrong with crying because you are afraid. There is nothing wrong with screaming because you are afraid, okay? The problem is not that we express these things the way we do. How are you going to tell your body that your body's wrong? Is your body wrong when you get an erection? You mad about that in the morning? No. Okay? So the part of our brain that controls these unconscious things in our body is much smarter than we are. And I got that from a white man. Okay? So if you can get over the emotional reactions to how you feel, those emotional reactions are influenced by outside sources, usually outside spiritual sources that do not have your best interests at heart. I also do not have your best interests at heart. I have my best interests at heart. But if I can accommodate the people that are loyal to me and their best interests, all the better. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street before he met Matthew McConaughey. He's like trying to have the best of both worlds. That's what I'm trying to do with Texas Movement International. I recognize that I can't force you to have these principles, but what I can do is create an organization where I can enforce those principles in myself. Okay? So that's why my dad is pissed at me and he won't give me any part of the inheritance that my mom gave me, because he wanted me to be his personal ATM because he was unwilling to do these action steps after his time as leader of Bread of Life Church. Being a pastor is like a free CEO pass without doing any of the work. All right? So, pastors, if you want to call yourselves prophets and men of God and wear nice suits like the guy from New York and stuff like that and continue to scam the people, that's your prerogative, okay? But don't come in here to Texas Movement and tell me that I have to lead my people the same way. We're going to be as transparent as I can be while protecting the organization. And if there's going to be any lies, they're going to be lies of omission, not lies of commission. Fair compromise? Because everybody else is lying to me. So, I think we need to stop there for the moment, but I just wanted you to know that I take this job very seriously because this was prayed over by my mother. And she's with the Lord. So she's doing much better than I am right now, but it is my job to continue her legacy and to continue my father's legacy. After the age of 55, 60, we cannot expect these people to have the same fervor that they did from 25 to 45 or 25 to 55, okay? That's 30 years of hard work that they've done, and eventually they are going to keep hoarding out of resentment for us not having the same value system that they did. So I'm doing my best to translate that old school value system for the modern age, and that's what Texas Movement represents. And because there are vested interests in our society deterioration, they're going to do everything they can to destroy Texas Movement and anything that could contribute to Texas Movement. So it's my job as leader to anticipate that and fight back against it. So through Texas Movement Media, I'm doing that today. And then I hope you get a chance to explore some of what Hero has to offer. I got the Vigilantes on today. As you can see, the all black does have a very slimming effect, you dig, and it makes me feel powerful and safe. But more importantly, it kind of shows that you can be confident in who God made you. All right? You don't have to subscribe to somebody else's value system if it does not align with your own individual conscience. So, my name is Alexander Mathai, and I'm the leader of Texas Movement International, which encompasses several verticals. I hope you get to know them as time goes on, and as we go into 2026, I hope you accompany me on our journey together. And the closer we get, the more I will be able to serve you through whatever vertical of Texas Movement is most appropriate. So again, God bless you and God bless the United States of America.